Oh, wow. Okay. Hi, everyone. I have this one hair that's going crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm okay. It's okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Monique Renee here, a photographer at Silver Paw Studio. I have not gone live from the green room in quite a while now. So, welcome back. Between different things like having trouble with my internet and wildfires and holidays. It's just been a while. We were going live every Monday afternoon here in the green room. But I think what I'm going to do from now on is maybe every other week or once a month. So be sure to keep your notifications on. This is your chance to Q&A with a professional pet photographer, videographer, pets and people. And if you want a little preview of what we're going to talk about, you can come to, you are invited. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. It's the very first one. Hello. You are invited to this, this email group, the Pro Pet Photography email group. You can be a pro or aspiring pro. Either way, it's totally fine. Or if you're just interested in what pet photographers are doing, if that's interesting to you, sign up boop, 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 right there. And you'll get a little bit of information about the videos I put out every Friday, any other video I put out, and what we're going to talk about on these live streams. And not only that, just a little bit more information than I could possibly put into the YouTube videos. And so that's what you're going to get in this email list. Oh, let me go back there. And I'll make that go away for a second. Okay. So hi, everyone. How's it going? It is Monday, so this is my regular day to go do the rescue photography. I photographed today 3 dogs at one campus and then went over to the other campus, and there wasn't a lot of adoptable cats to photograph. And so Frank and I, who I met there, we looked and we said, okay, there's 3 really, really adorable kittens, and we know that they will get adopted any second. And so sometimes it's a matter of, well, do we want to spend the next hour kind of photographing these, knowing that, they're just going to be adopted right away? And sometimes we do that anyway because they might need photos for, marketing. But today we're just like, no. We both had a lot of other things to do. Hello, TN. Could you tell me what would you like to be called? I could just keep calling you TN if you want, or if the TN stands for something, I would love to know. So welcome. How'd you get into, oh, hey, I can actually, oh, look, hi, I can show you on the screen. And I love the smiley face. That's fantastic. How did you get into photographing dogs at a shelter? Did you start by volunteering or were you hired? Oh, that is a super cool question because it's yes and yes. Oh, Teresa. Okay, yes, because I think you've emailed me before, right, Teresa? Okay, so welcome, Teresa. And now back to this question. And I just want to preface all this, the Q&A. I did put in the title the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about working with people. And so if you have any people questions that have been spurred from those videos, let me know. Otherwise, go ahead and ask any question, just as Teresa has done here. Okay, Teresa, photographing the dogs at the shelter, and actually cats. I do that as a volunteer basis, but let me give you the longer answer to that. I highly, highly recommend, if this is something you feel like you want to do, like it's in your heart, you really want to do this, sign up for HeartSpeak. Where can I put that? Oh, I can put that in the comments. On my other computer monitor is over here, heartspeak.org, and that should come up here. Heartsspeak.org. I highly suggest you sign up with them. They have tons and tons and tons of resources. If you're already a pro, I think it's like $50 a year or something, so they can keep managing their website. But they have all kinds of resources for doing just that. So maybe you want to volunteer at a shelter, but you're just not quite sure how to approach them. They have like letters in there already written out, which is really awesome. For me, what I did, I'm in the Northern Colorado area. And a few years ago, after I retired from working in veterinary offices and I missed all the animals, I happened to be driving by one of the smaller shelters. And I stopped in and I had left the veterinary industry to pursue photography full time. But I wasn't seeing pets. I was mostly photographing people, which is pretty saturated market. And so I just went in there. I said, hey, do you ever need a photographer? And we're in a college town. Oh, I'm always backwards. I don't know which way I'm doing my hair. Sorry. Let's just do that. We are in a college town. And so what happens a lot of times is that people can volunteer for this semester or this quarter, and then all of their schedule changes and then they can't come back. So this particular shelter was having a hard time getting someone on a regular basis to come in and photograph the animals. So they said, sure. And it was a smaller one, not like county run. It was a private one. And so that was 6 years ago. And my little weekly experiment for that summer ended up being every week for 6 years. Obviously, there's been a break with COVID this year. And anytime like I had surgery last year or I go on a big road trip, which I often do. So with those aside, I go in every single week to those shelters, and that is a volunteer basis. I love doing it. It keeps my skills sharp. I learn so much about dog handling and dog training because they all know so much there. And I feel like I have my hand on a little bit of the pulse of the dog world in my town, in my county and area. A few months after I started volunteering with the dogs, I went over to the cat shelter and I asked them if they needed to volunteer. And so that's when I started that too. Now, that is on a volunteer basis. This is a smaller organization. They have hired me since then to come out and do their business portraits, like headshots. So, I have had some ways to generate income if that's something you're worried about as a volunteer. Also, if I photograph the galas during non-pandemic years, right? If I photograph the galas, then that's a way for me to gather email addresses and get them on my email list. And so that generates some client work too. So if that's kind of where you're headed with that. Now the caveat, and feel free to jump in here anytime, Teresa, and comment on any of this also, or ask follow-up questions. The caveat to that is sometimes in forums, people will say, oh, the best way to kind of get your name out there, get some marketing is to go volunteer at the shelters. And I don't think that's where that motivation should come from. I think for me, I would photograph the shelters even if I wasn't a professional photographer. And so that's where my motivation comes from. If I was thinking this is only to generate business, then that wouldn't be great for me. Now, the other side of that is there is a bigger county shelter. And at one point they were doing a big capital campaign where they were moving their entire shelter. They were building an entire big, beautiful new shelter in our county. And I worked out a 1-year plan with them. And so I was in a monthly retainer. So I got paid a monthly, check. I can't remember what I'm talking about. So they paid me so much a month. And I said, okay, I'll do this many hours of photography for you. And in general, what that was I would go photograph the progress of the build for the new building. And when they demolished the old building, I photographed that. And the grand opening and the ribbon cutting. There were several different events in there. And so primarily those hours per month would go towards that. And that was very helpful for them, not only to archive the whole build for years to come, but also for the big investors. So the investor could see the progress of this big project. And so that project went on for about 1.5 years, maybe. And at that point, they're like, well, we have the pictures that we really need. And so then our contract ended, which is totally fine. So there's 2 ways that I have worked with the shelters. Does that answer your question, Teresa? For the most part, it's volunteer though, and you'll find that, with a lot of us out there, and HeartSpeak too. One of the cool things, Teresa, with HeartSpeak also is that they have, and I did a radio and podcast interview with them recently, and we talked about all the different things HeartSpeak does. But what we didn't talk about was their Images with Heart, and it's a stock agency. So if you have photos that you have permissions for, maybe there's no people in them, and you want to sell them as a stock imagery, you can earn money that way through HeartSpeak in their kind of gallery area. So that's something to look into too. Yeah. Was that a long-winded answer, or was that fine? If you have follow-up questions, just let me know. Let's see. Okay, I haven't missed any questions. My question bar is over here on the side. It's good to have you here. If you have questions, even on the replay, be sure to type them in here. I will see them. So I do want to tell you, oh, Teresa, you've been diving into some stock photography, but no bites yet. Okay. There's a ton of agencies. Let me get some water. I'm a talker. I love live streaming. There's a lot of agencies, right? So if you have a particular agency you're going to, it takes a super long time. I have just under 1,000 images over on Getty iStock that I've been building up for 10 or 12 years. And honestly, I haven't added anything to it for probably 5 years at least. And I still make a couple hundred a year. So there's that. It's just a really, really slow build because so much stock is micro stock now. So you're not making a ton. You know what I mean? But the royalties at HeartSpeak are much higher. Now, you may not get as many sales, but when you do get a sale, you get a much higher percentage of that sale. So definitely look into that. I'm just doing so much more with video now. So I'm working on video stock, which I have a video coming up about video stock. So, uh-oh. I don't know if you can hear my dog. Bailey! Sorry for whistling onto the show. Yeah, okay. So I would say HeartSpeak. Check out the images with heart. And yeah, they're specifically for animals. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Now, my fiance has had some luck on stock with Adobe stock, but most of his are landscape and particular things here in Colorado. So we're actually starting a whole other channel. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that yet, but I have a whole other YouTube channel in the works right now about making money with photography. So that's going to be one of our experiments. And, you know, I can share some of that over on this channel as well, but a lot of it's from our hard drives full of images from, you know, mountain ranges to herons. You know, what do you do with all of these? So we're going to do a bunch of experiments on making money with our past photos and current photos. So that's pretty cool. But Teresa, you know what would be awesome is if you have any stock imagery with people. Images with Heart is constantly looking for images with people in them, and a variety of different people too. So that would be super, super valuable over there. So definitely go to HeartSpeak and check out their Images with Heart. All right. I feel like I can be a spokesperson for them. It's a really great organization run by just like 2 people. They do this whole thing. Yeah. Exciting. You'll be watching. Okay. We've been working through the nuts and bolts of that, building out a little mini studio in the basement, which I'll probably do a video here on this channel about. I think we can build this studio, including the camera, for under $1,000. I have so much to talk to y'all about. Oh my gosh, it's been a minute. You'll watch that. So we're renting this camera right now. Okay. This is my, my Rode microphone. So this doesn't come with the rental, but we are renting the Sony ZV-1 right now as a video camera for that channel. And this is cool because it has a flippy screen now. So I have filmed so much in the last week. Several different companies that have let me come in and film videos for them with this. And this will be our main camera for that second channel. So I'm pretty sure I can build out that entire studio for under $1,000. So that will be probably a future video. I have so many videos in mind. Just got a portrait lens. Ooh, yes. So which one? Like 85, 35, 50. Those are kind of the main portrait lenses. I'd love to know. And remind me, you were trying to decide, right, which brand to go with. So we all love to know that too. What else? If you have any questions about the people, working with people aspect of pet photography, let me know too. I covered it kind of pretty well in the last 2 videos, but there's so much more to say. In my posing video, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of posing videos I can do. Sorry, my sound is on here. There's a lot of posing videos I can do with people. That seems to be a really sticky point with pet photographers. I've talked to so many pet photographers who are like, I will not photograph people. I have no idea how to do that. And I love photographing people too. So I can have lots of ideas on posing there. And then I had a quick video this last week about 10 ways to make people feel comfortable on set, whether they're the handler or they're in the photos. And I can talk about that more too. Oh, you got a 56. Ooh, and I'm assuming you're on a full frame camera. So that's basically a normal lens. So that's awesome because it's just wide enough. You can have some, lots of room for both people and not feel like you're right in their space. But you can also kind of get in their you can get some nice close-ups too. So I think that'll be a good lens for you, Teresa. Yeah, especially, with right now, I don't know where you are in the country, but some areas of the country are more open than others, and it can be hard to set up stock photo shoots, but I highly recommend that. So if stock photography is something you want to get into, let's pretend that you have a family at home, and so maybe kids, husband, wife, whoever, that you're comfortable putting in stock images and you have your own pets, set up something. Can we talk about stock for a second? We're going to talk about stock for a second. I have found the most luck with setting up themed stock shoots. So when I worked at a veterinary office in Washington, my daughter we bought her a pair of scrubs, and I got permission from the owner, because I managed the practice and we were close, to go into the practice on a Sunday. She wore scrubs. I think we brought our dog. He brought his cat, the veterinarian that owned it, and we did a whole shoot in there. She was holding a clipboard. She was standing near surgery. She had scrubs on. I think she had some surgery stuff on, near the kennels, different things. And that was a whole set. And those have sold really, really well because I was very intentional with them. And so if you could set up something, any kind of themed session where there's a group of images, you got a good start with stock. Yeah. I could say a lot about stock too. I can't say I've been super successful, but back in the heyday when I first started in stock a little over 10 years ago, I was able to make my car payment every month with stock, because the whole thing behind stock is shoot, upload, repeat, shoot, upload, repeat. You need to have a big portfolio. And so that's what I'm trying to do now with my video stock. I intentionally set up some video shoots with my dog, and my fiance was helping with that. And I am editing those for stock video and very intentional themed pieces. So that's something to think about with the stock. And this is also something you can do whether you're on lockdown or not, whether you just have your dog or your people, or people and the dog together, or cat or guinea pig, whatever it is. I'm constantly looking for stock for my projects and my clients' projects, stills and videos and sounds and all kinds of things. So there's still room in the market for stock for sure, but it's a long game. Okay. Just be thinking of that. All right. What else do I want to tell y'all? I want to pull up this banner because where did I put it? Here it is. Okay. Teespring. I'm going to hide it for a second. Look at this shirt. At the end of all my broadcasts, and actually the end of all of my emails, it also always says, I wish you many woofs, purrs, and TREATSs. Look, I made it as like a friend shirt. TREATSs, because you can't say that out loud on your dogs. Okay, she didn't hear me. See, it worked. So if you want a shirt like this, or my shirt that says photographer, those have been asked for a long time, and here it is. Oh, here it is. Everything's backwards on here. At the Teespring store. Oh, bat wings. Okay, at the Teespring store. Wish. So if you're looking for this shirt with the TRATSs or photographer, that's all I have up in the store right now. That is probably something I'll work on as I work on our secondary channel as well. Yes. Okay, let me go back to comments. I know there's new comments. Nice. Thanks, Teresa. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. I do have pulled up. So, Teresa, there's you and one other person here live right now, and if that person wants to pop in too, but usually the answer is yes. On my second monitor, I have Lightroom pulled up with the pictures of the puppies that I took today. And honestly, I uploaded this onto my computer 5 minutes before I went live. So they finished loading as I went live, and I haven't looked at them at all. But do you want to see the images I took at the dog shelter today? I have them ready to go on the other screen. That's right. Yeah. This other screen, for some reason, the font is teeny tiny, but I'm pretty sure I know what's happening over there. So, Teresa, would you like to see? I know you're going to say yes. Okay. I kind of already know that. So, guess what? Let's go to Lightroom. All right. I know you can't see this very well. It looks teensy tiny, but let me see. Okay. Here's one of the pepperonis. Ah. He's pretty backlit, so this is what I always do with mine. I start with, this is really, really slow when I'm doing a live, BT dubs. So I always crop to 8:10. I cut off his little feet. So let's look at him looking straight at the camera. And I love the ladybug collar I picked out for him. Okay, Teresa, you said yes, absolutely. I see that. Okay. And then I kind of go over here to auto and see what the world it does. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I think that looks pretty good right there. Look at his little tiny teeth. I think that's good. That's fine. I'm going to start with a 1 and go back out to grid with G. Doesn't he look great? And so what I'll do is I'll find 3 of this little guy. They were busy little pepperonis today. So this one, and what I can do is star that, and then I can sort by star. Oops, 1 star. Oh, I can star them in camera too. So if I take that one and sync those settings, whoops, I have to be in develop mode, sync, and it went over here, and let's sync all of them. And so this one's pretty much ready to go now. And I just have to crop it correctly. Hello, puppy. They have an enclosed, fenced-off area, and so the dogs can run around without a leash, which is really, really nice. Yeah. So, I'll just kind of keep going with that. That's a cutie patootie. This dog was really busy. He was a little bit leery. Look at those eyeballs, though. What? So again, usually I'll go through and star these all at once, and then I'll crop them how I want them. For their adoption portfolio, I always send them 3. I like 3 different looks. They use them for marketing and whatnot too. It could be a little bit brighter. That's pretty good, actually. It looks different on each screen. I need to calibrate these a little bit better. So there was this little puppy. He had this bone bandana on. Cute, right? Yeah, I cropped to 8x10. And that's just a habit of mine. For that particular, the shelters that I've worked with, that seems to be the aspect ratio that their programs use. And also, when I sell to my clients, I sell a lot of 8x10s and 16x20s. And so that is, and it also has plenty of room if you leave just a tiny bit of room for off to one side. You can crop to 5x7 and 11x14 aspect ratios really, really simply. And so I always start off with an 8x10 aspect ratio. For me, that just really works. That little guy is a little bit dark. So yeah. And it's a good starting point. Now, if that shelter were to change programs, I would go back over there and make sure, what a silly face, I would go to their website and make sure that they weren't stretchy and wonky and weird. Sometimes when you take pictures at the shelter and then they upload them, I don't know what the world happens, but they get stretched out real funky. Maybe they have a square aspect ratio and you sent them over a rectangle and it just looks strange. So as much as you can, if you end up doing this, look at that cutie patootie, then make sure you know what the aspect ratio is that they need. And for client work, like I said, I just crop by 8x10, and I don't, this is cropped in Lightroom, so I'm not losing anything. I'm not physically cropping off the pixels like you would in Photoshop. So this, like, here, let's go back over there. I don't know how much, Teresa, you know about Lightroom, but Lightroom is like a lossless. So if I got this dog and I go to crop him again, oh, I think I'm in the wrong screen. There we go. That information is still there. So if I said, okay, that's 8x10, but they need a 5x7, see how it just takes a little bit off the long edges? So if I make sure I leave enough room, we're fine. And all that data is still there. It is not destroyed. So there we go. So that's what I tend to do. All right. So those are just a super brief look at the 3 pepperonis that I photographed at the shelter today. That went pretty well. It wasn't too hot out. It got to be close to 90 again today, but it should cool down soon. You use Luminar, not too much. Okay. You consider switching? Okay. I don't really know much about Luminar, and if it's like, if it's like Photoshop and it's a final thing, then just be really careful. Maybe edit a copy and keep a raw copy, that kind of thing. Like, I would never do everything in Photoshop. I love to use Lightroom for most everything, and then I go to Photoshop to say remove leashes or take distracting stuff out of the background, clone areas. I just delivered a big canvas to a client, and it just looked better to have the image wrapped, so I had to clone those edges in instead of having a black or a white border. So those kind of things I go to Photoshop for. But But the great thing about Lightroom is not only it'll catalog things and you have keywords in there, which is great for stock. You have all your keywords and all that way to find them and organize them, but you can also do some editing. So I think it's really powerful, and it just goes right over to Photoshop and right back, and ta-da. But I'm kind of in the Adobe world here because that's what I use. I use Adobe Premiere Pro for my video editing too, and I'm learning After Effects with Premiere. And there's lots of different things. So I pay the big bucks, I guess. If Luminar is free and you like it and it does what you need, there's no problem with that. Yeah. Part of the reason I switched to Lightroom was because there's a million tutorials about it. I was having such a hard time with my previous program, which doesn't even exist anymore. And I just couldn't find any education on it. So Lightroom has anything I need in the Adobe products. Like I'll forget how to do what the shortcut is for something in Premiere, and I just do a really, really fast Google search, done. So I love that there's education for it everywhere. That's why I switched. I don't have time for that. Yay. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here, Teresa, unless you have some more questions for me. I'm really not sure when I'm going to go live again. Let me take a look at the calendar over there. Today's the 14th. I mean, maybe the end of the month. I'm still really trying to decide if I want to do these maybe once a month. Like 2 of you were able to make it to this one, so I have to play around with what time I should go live too. How much you generally edit photos? For example, do you change colors to make the picture more vibrant, or do you tend to just keep what the camera shoots? I sometimes find that I over edit. Well, that's true. Yeah. That's that's tough to do, right? I'm going to answer this one last question for you. I do edit my photos. I am that weirdo who goes in for my clients. I will edit just exactly what you just saw. I will crop it. I will do the shadows and highlights and exposure and all that, and remove leashes and any like eye boogies and stuff like that. And I'll do that for my client photos too, all of them. And what sometimes I'll do is I'll just do a few. Especially if it's a big session with lots of dogs, I'll just do a couple for each of them so they get the idea. But it's really, really hard for clients to picture that in product. I get as much right in camera as I can, but there's so many factors. I have Photoshop. I have Lightroom. We both do. Like, we have these tools at our disposal. So the expression overrides everything. So you've got to get the right expression to make their animal look like their client's like, yeah, that's it. That's my dog, And so sometimes that might mean that it's a little darker or a little lighter or a little off center. And so we have tools to help us with that. What I will say, if you think you're over editing, is edit them and then walk away for an hour. And then come back, even overnight, and then come back, and you will see glaring things. And then try the auto setting. Like, have your program do auto, and then move all the sliders yourself and get it to the point. But also print it, because I have 2 different monitors here, and they both look a little different. Like, my monitor over here is darker than this one, and I've tried to manipulate that. When I had an Apple, it was much easier. But calibrate your monitors and then print. So send them off to a print lab, because that'll be true, because these monitors are backlit. So print it. We have a big professional printer upstairs too, like one of those Canon C100s or whatever they are, because we like to print our stuff for our home. But print it. So that's super helpful too. And if you think you're over editing, just walk away for a while and then come back. So that's what I do. I do sometimes vibrancy. So if you're shooting in RAW, especially, that's a negative. Like, nobody ever just prints a negative, right? You're going to do some tweaks. There is no way that a camera is going to see exactly what we see and what we want to see. This is our interpretation of the world, right? So you do you. If you want to do a lot of editing and you want to make that dog look like he wasn't at the beach, he was in the forest, that's awesome. If that's your flavor and people love it and you love it, go for it. But if you feel like the colors are really wonky, I would definitely step away and come back. I have had things reprinted even to this at this time. I'll get it back from the lab and go, ooh, that seems a little pinker than I thought it would, and I'll have it reprinted. So it happens, time of day, light in your office, all of those things are factors. So it's a science, right, Teresa? For sure. All right, that gets us right to half an hour. Woohoo! Thanks for that question. All right, one more time. If you are not signed up, which I think you are, Teresa, but anyone watching the replay, you are invited. This hand. Okay. Boop, 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 bit.ly/pet photo biz. Actually, there's an Instagram that goes along with that now, too. Oh, I have a thing for it. Huh. Pro Pet Photog. I need to be better about posting there, but it is there, and we are building that Instagram page for all of us peeps. Okay. What else do we have? I think that's it. And maybe I'll go live one more time this month, or what I might do is just set one day a month that I go live to answer all these questions. How does that sound? Does that sound good? Sure. You are welcome, Teresa. Yay. Yeah, feel free to reach out anytime. I love all this. I live and breathe all this. So everyone, what is my normal sign off? Does everybody know? Okay. As always, I wish you many whoops, purrs, and TREATSs. Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye.